give them this idea. And this is the one that Satan says, that's the one. That's what we're going to do. We're going to tell people that there's no hurry to do the thing that they're being called to do, to show up where they need to show up. You don't need to do that today. You could do it tomorrow. Do it next week. Do it when you retire. Start that business that's going to change the world 2 years from now. Go see your grandpa next month or next year because you have stuff to do right now. There's no hurry. Take it easy. Welcome back to the Pursuit of Purpose, and Happy New Year. It is 2024. Super excited for 2024. And 2023 for Natalie and I was an amazing year. Just a great time in our business, awesome time spent with our family. And this topic and this episode that I'm sharing today is something that's very near and dear to me. I believe that we all have things that we love and people that we love, and we need to be spending time with those. One of the biggest things that I struggle with is just working all the time because I love what I do, but I love my kids and my family and my friends. And so Natalie and I have prioritized a number of things this year in our life, traveling with our kids, going overseas. We're going to go to Europe, taking my grandpa. Just a really exciting time and many things to look forward to. As you listen to this video, if there's someone in your life that you are feeling inspired to share this with, it would mean the world to me if you took a minute to send a text to that person, share this podcast URL with them, and just spread this message, because I think that there is power in being present with the ones that we love. And at the end of the day, the best gift that you could give anybody is your time. So thank you so much for listening, and enjoy this episode. 2007, November, first home game of the season. I find myself on the free throw line with about 45 seconds to go in the game. We're down by 2 points. I had just gotten fouled, and I have the opportunity to put the game into overtime. So I'm at the free throw line. The gym's packed. Like, I go to shoot, dead silence, right? It's like the moment we dream about when you're the 5-year-old boy in the picture shooting free throws by yourself on a wooden basketball hoop, right? I miss both free throws, we lose. How many of you have been in a situation where you had your shot, you had your moment, you get out there, and you fall short, right? Well, the problem, to make it exponentially worse, was that those weren't the only 2 free throws I missed that game. I went 3 for 18 from the line that night. Atrocious. So you can imagine, you in front of all your peers, your friends, family, everybody's watching you. You lose the game, but not only that, to just dig even deeper, you literally played probably one of the worst games of your entire life. So naturally, I leave the gym as quickly as I can. I'm crying. I go into the locker room, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I pull my jersey over my head, and I'm sitting here. And I'm crying. I don't want to talk to anybody. I literally, it's just one of those moments. It's like, maybe it's the human nature of the barbarian or whatever, of just like feeling like you are so terrible, and the self-talk, and you're just like, how terrible, like, you weren't meant to do this. Why, like, you let everybody down. You're the captain of the team. You don't deserve to be the captain. And I'm sitting there. I don't remember anything else that was said by the coach, but I'm just like, I'm not talking to another person, because in those moments, what does everybody around you try to do? Right? Yeah, they're like, it's okay, Chris. We'll get the next one. It never comes down to the last shots. I'm like, yeah, but it comes down to 15 shots. You can't win. We're not going to win any games if we go 3 for 18 from the line. And so in my head, I'm just like, shut up. Like, just leave me alone. I played terrible. But in moments like that, you have a decision. And I made a decision while I was sitting there crying in the locker room. And I said, I'm never going to let this happen again. And so I said, I'm going to practice free throws every day. And I'm not going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start right now. And I'm going to go out, and I'm going to make 100 free throws before I go home tonight. But I didn't want it to be a show. It wasn't like I was going to, hey guys, let's go practice for free throws now. This was something that was a personal decision. And starting in like middle school, high school, some things I know, just the people in this group, you can relate to this. I love putting in the work when nobody's watching. I love it. It's like Eric says, where's Eric at? The endorphins of just being in the gym at 5 a.m., putting in the work. Everyone else, I'm just in my head, I'm like, everybody else is sleeping. I'm doing the extra reps. I got fed by that. And so I was like, I'm going to sit in this locker room until everybody goes home, and then I'm going to go into the gym and I'm going to practice. And I don't care if I have to shoot 1,000 free throws. I'm making 100 free throws before I go home tonight. So I'm waiting. Everybody's like, Chris, you all right? Yeah, I'm good. You sure you're okay? You need anything? No, I'm good. Waiting. I probably waited, I'm not kidding, 30 to 40 minutes, just sat in the locker room. And now I'm like, okay, everybody's gone, so maybe the janitor's still here vacuuming up the stand. So I come out of the locker room. Have any of you, any basketball players? Who's shot in an empty gym all by yourself? So, Steven, tell us what that's like. Yeah, it's quiet. Everything you do is loud. I love that. That is like one of my favorite things to this day is to go into an empty gym. Just like it's such a massive space and you're in there just practicing all by yourself. And the sound of the ball bouncing, it's just like, it's meditative for me. So I go into the gym, I dribble, go up to the free throw line, and the gym was set up, we have the bleachers that come out, and then you have the entrance into the gym on the side of the bleachers. So the bleachers were still set up from the game, and I dribble out to the free throw line, and I go to shoot. And out of the corner of my eye, I was like, what? There's something's in the bleachers. And I look over, and someone's there. And my dad, Terry Kiefer, was just chilling in the top row of the bleachers, sitting, just waiting for his son, who just had the worst game of his life, to come out. And the funny thing is, I remember being at the free throw line. I had just come down off of my crying in the locker room, and I'm like, all right, got my head right, I'm gonna practice, and all of a sudden I'm pissed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why do you think I waited in the locker room for 30 minutes? I don't need you to come down here and cheer me up, tell me that's gonna be okay. I'm doing this for me, and I don't need any other advice from anyone here. But my dad wasn't there to give me advice. And the next 20 minutes was incredible, because what he did was he came down, I'm shooting my free throws, and he walks down under the hoop and just starts rebounding. Pass the ball back to me. Shoot another free throw, pass the ball back to me. The only thing he said, the only words out of his mouth the entire 30 minutes, 40 minutes, the hour, I don't know how long we were there. The only thing that he said to me the entire night was something that he said to me when I was about the age of that boy in the picture. And he said he was teaching me positive self-talk and visualization. And he'd pass the ball back to me and go, I got this one. It's going in. I got this one. It's going in. So I shoot my free throws. I make my 100. We go home. Never talked about that night again. Never came up. How many of you have had a moment in your life, whether it was because of an accident, maybe it was a rough day at work, where you have those friends that they know, the teammates. So hey, do you need anything? You doing okay? Anyone? Rough days? Maybe you lost someone, maybe someone died. There's certain friends in your life that show up. They're there. They don't call you and say, hey, would you like me to come over? And the other thing that's interesting is that as humans, you might have a rough day and call your friend and say, hey, I need to talk about something. But nobody calls their friend and says, hey, would you mind coming over and just sitting in my living room for an hour? I had a really tough time, or I just lost somebody, and I just want you to sit here. That we don't do that. We would never ask somebody, but the people that love and care about you, they're present. And there is power in being present. So I want you to write that down. There is power in being present. So I have more to say, but I want to do an activity to emphasize the rest of my talk. And in order to do this, I'm going to pick on the people that are on the outskirts. So everyone at the table, I need you to pick up your chairs, bring them right here really quickly because I only have 20 minutes. So Levi, you can come up. Anyone in the back, just grab a chair and please set up like 3 across, however many rows we need. You can come over too. Welcome to the front row. All right, what we are going to do right now, Ruben, I'm going to need you and your voice for sure. Definitely going to need some screaming. We need the Ruben, right? What we're going to do is called the Rollercoaster cheer. Any of you familiar with the Rollercoaster cheer? So I'm going to give you some instructions. Basically, it's simple. All you have to do is mimic what I do. So if I lean over here, everybody, come on, lean over here. If I go this way, if we go forward, down the hill, up the hill, right? Only other thing we need to add is you're going to have to scream. Like, I'm going to give you a demo right here. You're going to need a chair, Eric. You can't ride a roller coaster standing up. And Bree, too. Everybody, we're riding a roller coaster. How many of you have been to Silverwood? Okay, so stunt pilot. We're going to, let's imagine we're going on stunt pilot right now, okay? And I want to give you an example. This is what I'm talking about with screaming. Oh! It needs to be, we're going on a roller coaster, okay? Ruben, I know you got some lungs. All right, here we go. So we start out, little foot, we're going to go up the hill. Oh, sorry, I totally forgot. We need to buckle up. Everyone in, keep your arms, hands, feet, all objects inside the car at all times. Here we go. Oh my gosh, oh gosh, we are getting up there. We are very high. Whew. Okay, we're coming to the top.
Holy!
All right. That was hilarious. Hopefully we got that all on camera. So my question to you guys, how did that feel? Awesome.
Exhilarating.
Exhilarating. That's not fair. Eric's got the mic still.
I always scream F you to whoever's near me, in the craziest way. I hate roller coasters, but I also love them. But that's what comes out of me. I hate you.
That's awesome.
Hurts so good.
So my question for you guys is, what were you thinking about? What was going through your mind? Somebody, maybe some of you were thinking about a roller coaster. Was anyone thinking, what the hell are we doing this for? Or, oh, I have a meeting coming up. Anyone, did you have any thoughts about something else today, right? Any of you weren't thinking, oh, I better not scream too loud because, Steven's going to think I'm taking it a little too serious for 8 in the morning, We have these thoughts, right? There is power in being present. I practiced this talk last night with my family. So we have a 6, 4, 2, and 2-month-old. And I asked my 6-year-old the same thing I'm asking you right now. What were you thinking about? And Ellie goes, I was thinking when we went down the hill how scary it was. And I was like, that's amazing. As a 6-year-old, we all have the ability to literally be on a roller coaster. It's innate for us to just be present. Like when you see a kid playing in the sandbox with trucks or, playing with Lego spaceships. there's nothing else on their mind except that. There is power in being present. So as I was preparing this talk, the thing that came up to me, or that kept coming to my mind, was, where do you need to be, Chris? Where do you need to be? And I want you to think about this as well. Where do you need to be? When my dad was at that game, he was staying and waiting for his son to come out. So I want to ask you guys, where do you need to be? Again, someone give me a hand raise if you've got, what's coming up for, like, where do you need to be in life? Where do you need to show up? This is maybe for your spouse, for family, for coworkers. Where is it? For myself, great. Daughter. Definitely be there.
My wife, she's giving birth right now.
Don't miss that.
She just
Tim.
texted me.
Yeah. Put that in your calendar, Tim.
Yeah. And now the other thing, so a lot of times we know where we need to be, right? And we can be physically there, but are you mentally there? And as I was preparing this talk for the last month, I was realizing that, like, why is it that when I go play Legos with my son Gabe, I put a podcast in my AirPod and I'm listening to something else. And I'm playing with him, you know, but I got stuff to do. Or when Ellie says, Dad, do you want to watch Moana with me for the 17th time? I'm like, yeah, honey, sure. Let me get my laptop. And just like, you know, oh yeah, that's a great part, you know. You're welcome. And I'm just sending emails, right? You don't think that they know, that they see that? Yeah. So you can be physically there, but are you mentally there? Yeah. Are you spiritually where you need to be? Are you financially invested where you need to be? And so I was thinking about this, like, what is the reason we all said things that we all identified? And again, as I continue to talk, I want you to think, where else are you being called to show up? We all, like, if you think about it, it's not rocket science. You have these thoughts of where you should be. And for me, I've identified personally, and I think that this is applicable for almost everybody, there's 3 things to help you show up where you need to be. The first one is mission. I screamed so loud, I'm like, I lost my voice when I was on the roller coaster. The first one is mission. The second one is other people. The third one is time. So mission, other people, time. Mission. If you don't, it's just actually everything that's been said so far this morning, the talk with Dan, if you don't have a mission, how in the hell can you expect to have any idea where you should be? However, on the flip side, when you have a mission, and I'm grateful for this group for helping me clarify that. Shout out to Levi we went to a workshop with him, and I got clear on my mission, which is Chris Kiefer champions the relentless pursuit of purpose. So that's my mission, and I want to break that down. Purpose. I've been obsessed with purpose for as long as I can remember. I hate the, like, oh man, it's that daylight savings time, man, as if it's never happened before. It's crazy how it's lighter now at 7, you know, just, oh yeah, and we're just filling time with just nonsense. I hated it. So I started a podcast 5 years ago called The Pursuit of Purpose. Before I had identified my mission, it was just like, I wanted to have deeper, meaningful conversations. And it's a pursuit of purpose because you never get to your purpose and then you're done. It's an ongoing thing. And then relentless because there's always more. There's always you can be more present. You can show up to a conversation, to a movie, to the roller coaster, and be even more present than you were last time. It's a relentless pursuit of purpose. And then champion, I love champion because what is a champion? You literally have to win championships. You can't just say, I'm a champion, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Like, if you don't win championships, you're not a champion. So I have to champion that mission And also, when you are championing something, you're the example. You bring people along. You give them the roadmap. You say, hey, come on this relentless pursuit of purpose to be a more purposeful husband, more purposeful father, more purposeful entrepreneur, grandson, whatever it is. So that's mission. The second one, other people. We all have fears of, and again, where do you need to be? Back to that. Maybe you've identified that where I need to be is in a different job. Maybe I need to go visit my grandpa who's 96 more often. Maybe I need to actually play Legos and imagine that I'm on a spaceship with my son Gabe who's 4. Like, I don't know what it is, but maybe there's the thing that you've told yourself you were going to do for a long time. It could be calling a client. So where do you need to be? And the fear that comes up is like, I'm afraid if I go pursue my job or I do my dream job that I'm not going to make enough money and I'm going to lose, we won't be able to pay our mortgage and we're going to lose our house. Or whatever the fear is. But in reality, what we're actually afraid is we're not afraid of losing our house. We're afraid that we won't be able to pay our mortgage, we lose our house, our friends will notice, and then they'll think less of us because of it. And that's true for almost every fear. It's not that you're afraid of that. You're afraid that someone's going to see you do that and then judge you. The third one, time. So there's a book by C.S. Lewis called The Screwtape Letters, and it's a fantastic fictional dialogue between Satan and other demons that are trying to scheme how they're going to wreak havoc on humanity and attack humans and cause suffering. And Satan is sitting there with the other demons, and they're trying to scheme on how can we ruin as many humans as possible. And the first demon says, we could tell them there's no heaven. Tell them there's no heaven for, a reward for doing the right thing. Satan says, no, that won't work. Next demon says, let's tell them there's no hell because there won't be any consequences for, sinning, harming others, whatever. Satan says, no, that won't work. Next demon says, I know, we could tell them there's no hurry. Tell them there's no hurry. Give them this idea. And this is the one that Satan says, that's the one. That's what we're going to do. We're going to tell people that there's no hurry to do the thing that they're being called to do, to show up where they need to show up. You don't need to do that today. You could do it tomorrow. Do it next week. Do it when you retire. Start that business that's going to change the world 2 years from now. Go see your grandpa next month or next year because you have stuff to do right now. There's no hurry. Take it easy. I want to jump back to my dad. He had, by all definitions in today's world, the most boring career, and I've always thought this. He went to school to be a PE teacher. He got a student teaching job at Banks Elementary. He then got offered the PE teacher job at Banks Elementary, which he accepted. He then worked for 34 years at Banks Elementary as a PE teacher, and then he retired. And in May of 2011, he retired, and 3 weeks after he retired, he wasn't feeling well, goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, this is unusual, the weird symptoms, let's take some x-rays, and we'll see what's going on. Turns out he's got a mass on his pancreas. A couple days go by, they get the biopsy back. My dad goes into the doctor, and they say, I hate to be the one to tell you this, Terry, but you have stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so he's a PE teacher for 34 years of his life. He retires. 3 months after he retires, he dies. How many of you have had and again, maybe it's retirement, maybe it's something else. Oh, I'm going to quit my job after I get this next payday. I'm going to do one more quote. I'm going to do one more thing. I'll start that business when I retire. And again, I believe that's Satan trying to push you and tell you, hey, there's no hurry, take your time. But what if you don't have more time? My dad at his funeral had 700 people show up. 700 students, former roommates, college friends, family members show up because there is a man that understood the power of presence. He wasn't just a PE teacher. He was, early on, he had told my mom this. He hated going to lunch in the teacher's lounge because they would just gossip. He's like, drove him crazy. So what did he do? He took out his box of magic tricks that he had had for a long time, and he started going into the lunchroom, and he would find the table that was well-behaved, and they'd get to see magic tricks from Mr. Kiefer. In the mornings, students, the bus routes, they drop you off in like this 30-minute window before school starts, and he found out that kids were getting there at 7:30 sometimes, and school didn't start till 8:15, so they're just sitting in the hall. So what did he do? He opened up the gym for people to go rope climbing every day. But not only that, he started tracking how many times each kid was going rope climbing, and then he would put them on these big charts. And so he had charts at the end of his career of his entire, back to 1970. You could go in and see, Stephen Smith went 4 times in January, and then in March he went 6 times, and he had parents coming in with their kids who were now in my dad's class and saying, look, when I was in 4th grade, I climbed the rope 17 times that year. And then when I was in 5th grade, I climbed 25 times. He would do stuff like this, and he was present. Again, there is power in being present. My name is Chris Kiefer. I champion the relentless pursuit of purpose. I know where I need to be. I don't know where you need to be, but you do. Thank you.
So good.
And as I said at the beginning of the episode, it would mean the world to me if you took a few seconds right now and just text this episode to somebody else that you think might benefit. Share it. And if you're feeling so inspired to shoot me a text or an email, my email is chris@chriskiefer.com. So that's Kiefer, chris@chriskiefer.com. Love to hear from you. And if there's any other feedback or ideas you have for future episodes, don't hesitate to put those in there as well. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.